Hey everybody, I am Audrey Robinson and I'm here with Gestalt for Children and Adolescents. If you watched my last video, if you were in the theories class and you're watching this and you saw the child-centered play therapy one, this is the next in the series. And so I want to touch a little bit about theories in kids, just some general stuff, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say it again. All theories can be scaffolded to be more concrete to meet the needs of kids and adolescents, those different developmental needs. When we learn about theories initially in the textbook, they talk about like what they look like with adults, and it may be hard to think about what it looks like with kids or adolescents, or seem that certain theories can't be, but they all really can be, and there's been a lot of work to make these work for kids. And so I kind of want to just highlight a little bit about what that looks like. So as you're on your theory journey, and as you pick the theory that best fits your worldview, that matches up with the way you see the nature of the person, the maladjustment, and how we change, then you can look more into and find out about how to use that theory with kids. Play therapy is a way that theories have been adapted for kids, and there's many different styles of play therapy, and then expressive arts, things like sand tray and activities have also been used. All right. Once again, play therapy is not simply using toys or reading a book or using sand tray in therapy, just as like counseling is not just talking to somebody. Your friends who talk to each other aren't counselors. It requires specific knowledge and training. Play therapy is a theoretical orientation that requires that training to use with kids. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Gestalt therapy. Gestalt therapy, both for adults and kids, has been called the impatient therapist's person-centered theory. And it's my personal theory when I work with adolescents and adults. I do child-centered play therapy. But I like Gestalt because it's very similar to person-centered, to Rogerian. And it's a little bit more technique. There's a little bit more to it. And I really like that about it. It's very dynamic, whereas person-centered is more reflective. It's all about the process. Similar to person-centered and existential, it just has slightly more techniques, and it can be a little bit more directive at times. It's all about the process over the content. All right, so we've got Gestalt play therapy, which is a thing, and then we also have expressive arts activity. Those are both ways that we can use Gestalt with kids. All right, so this is a lot of information about Gestalt play therapy and Gestalt theory, kind of comparing them. I'm not going to go over Gestalt theory, that side, because you've read your chapter, hopefully, and you can, kind of read this side on the own. Pro tip, this part on this side under Gestalt theory can help you with your weekly chapter assignment. But Gestalt play therapy looks at organismic regulation, saying that humans strive for life and connections, and we do that through contact. And Gestalt play defines contact as our senses, our movement, our emotions, our problem solving, how we identify our needs and wants. That's organismic regulation, and you may recognize that term from your book. Also, dialogic process. The child and the therapist impact each other. It's a back and forth. It's a dance. It's a beautiful dance. It's so dynamic. Can you tell I like Gestalt? Developmental history is important, just as it was in child-centered play therapy, to get that context and learn about the environment and how the kid operates in their environment. That's really important to the maladjustment, how they're getting their needs and wants met. The goal of Gestalt play therapy is integrated aliveness, the networking of all organismic functions so that the child's basic physical, developmental, social, emotional, and intellectual needs and wants are understood and organized, and that a kid is meeting those in healthy ways. All right, so here's kind of the process of Gestalt play therapy. There is a developmental history is needed for the context and progress. A lot of times that looks like first an intake with the parents, getting that good developmental history before meeting with the starting play therapy with the child. And then the most essential element is the necessity of sustaining the child and the parent's trust and promoting safety and security in the relationship. That room, the relationship, it's all about trust, and it's all about the relationship. Throughout the process, relational and self-supports are assessed. The counselor is constantly assessing progress, and the therapist uses their clinical judgment, their therapeutic skills, and play therapy to provide enjoyment, interest, and depth to the process. It's a little more directive than child-centered play therapy, but just as much engaging, and dynamic. The goal is to have integrated children. All right, so what does that look like? What does Gestalt play therapy look like? And here's some ways that talks about the elements of therapy and then possible modalities, ways that it could be done. And these things are not like a sequential thing. It has to be this, then this, then this. It's non-sequential, and these are areas to explore to co-create experiences with the kids. So it's all about the therapist and the child together. You've got sensory and body activities, sand tray, drawing, games, books, music, role play, clay, puppets, drawing, more role play, homework, parent consultations, family involvement, and acknowledgements. I love this quote, and it talks about like what the goal is of Gestalt, to have the integrated child. And an integrated child is spontaneous and curious, playful and compassionate, energetic and responsive, active and quiet. He understands the meanings of emotions and how to regulate them. He allows himself to learn to the best of his abilities. He loves and allows himself to be loved. He is discriminate in relationships. He possesses a cohesive narrative of his lived experience that addresses the difficult and traumatic experiences of his life. When the integrated aliveness of the child is present and daily life becomes easier, the readiness for therapeutic closure develops. That's how we know when it's time to terminate, when we can see these things in the kids we're working with. And both these people, Gary Landreth from 2012 and Carol here is a big Gestalt play therapy, and then Landreth is child-centered play therapy. All right, so this is my favorite Gestalt resource. It is the Gestalt resource. It's by Violet Oaklander, and you can find a lot of videos of her through our counseling and therapy videos through the G Library through TAMUC, or you can find some on YouTube. And like, she is a guru, like one of the original, and I love this book, and it's got tons of different activities, and it really talks you through the process of Gestalt play therapy, and it talks through how to use fantasy, how to use drawings. Two of my favorite are, you may have heard of them before, Boat in the Storm and Rosebush. I was trying to find videos of those for you guys to show, but I couldn't find any good ones. So maybe if I get some time, I can make some to kind of show those. You know, hopefully that'll be coming later. It also has chapters on making things, clay, storytelling, poetry, puppets, sensory experiences, enactment, play therapy, sand tray, and games. I cannot say enough good things about this. I recommend this to all of the interns I supervise, even if they are not necessarily Gestalt. If someone's person-centered, these things go really well with that too, to kind of work with those middle ages that don't necessarily need straight up child-centered play therapy. I cannot recommend this book enough. And I think some of these techniques can be borrowed and used in other ways and other theories too. All right, if you are interested and want to watch more specifically about Gestalt, here's a couple for Violet Oaklander. And then if you log into the G Library, and it takes you to this video where she talks about development and working with children. It's really good about development. All right. Questions, email me or Donna Hickman. Dr. Hickman and I are the dynamic duo who are trying to put out some of this stuff for theories. And then here's all the resources. A lot of this stuff comes from something that the Association for Play Therapy put out. And so you can go there and find lots of information on play therapy. All right, thanks.